program, accountability, and the changes to our assessment policy. So, welcome, Carla.
Thank you. I don't think everybody is back. I think we're all still kind of on break. I don't want anybody to miss this, so if they miss it, y'all just have to fill them in. First of all, I just want to say my job today is kind of wrapping up everything that you've talked or heard over the last 2 days, and it's all going to make sense. I see you guys going through the paperwork. Stop. I promise I'm going to explain it all to you, and it's all going to make sense, and it's all going to all connect together because you're going to know where the data goes. And you know me, in my new role, if it does not exist in paper or it's not documented, it does not exist at all. And so you'll see that the documentation is key for all of the wonderful, wonderful things that we have going on. So as you all know, I am the assistant director for program quality and assessments, and most of you know monitoring, and when you see me, you guys cringe. But I want you to know that I come in peace. I come in peace. Sincerely. So, really, Lindsay? Okay. Well, I love that you say that. So let's talk about that, because Tamara's like, I sent an email and you're like, All right, so here's the thing. You guys, I gave you all documentation on yesterday. I gave you a whole packet full of good stuff, right? That first thing you saw was this wonderful desktop monitoring tool. You're right there on the table. I saw yours when I was over there. It literally says home. It was in front of Kelly.
I think it's right here.
Yeah, it was where you were. Yeah. So somebody passed her documentation. All right, so I'm going to start my presentation with asking a question. How many of you actually look at your data every month? Raise your hands.
Every week.
Love it. So I actually have the job of doing so. I look at each and every last one of your programs. I complete this desktop monitoring tool for you all, and then I send you all wonderful emails. Here's what's funny. You haven't been getting very many emails from me lately, Dale, have you? And what that means is you're doing the work. Now, Tamara said when I send an email, she cringes. And it's usually because I'm pointing out some issues that I see. But what you can't say is, I don't come with solutions. And I don't get in the trenches with you guys, and we figure it out. And I want you to actually reflect on everything that you heard over the last couple of days, because it's this monitoring, it's the virtual monitoring, it's the technical assistance that have opened up adult education to a wonderful, wonderful field. And we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I tell you all the time, conduct this desktop monitoring because this is how you advocate for your programs. We hear you. The online HSC program is because of the barriers that you said you guys have been facing because the students can't get to class because of COVID and various things like this. The PD calendar that grows every month is based on the needs that you guys tell us you have when we're having these sidebar conversations. And let me just say this, I love your candidacy. Because when I sit with you guys, whether you cringe or not, you guys are honest and transparent with me. And what that does is that allows me to take your issues to the powers that be, and we figure it out, y'all. When I tell you, if there's nothing that we do at the board is we work together. And we are barrier eliminators. Y'all, I'm so excited. We have a podcast. So many of you talk about how a podcast, no rumbling. Like so many of you are talking about how your words, your program is not seen. You're talking about how your students are not being acknowledged. Here's the avenue. We have a newsletter. If your programs are not shouting you out, send it to us and we'll make sure we tag them. But I want you to understand that this is not about accountability. This is about program accolades. That's what I'm here to tell you about today. Because as I look at your data on a monthly basis, I can sit here and I can say that you all are to be commended. I know you all are stressed out, and you know, I changed my hair so I can hide my bald spots from time to time. I'm kidding, I'm not going bald. But I understand, we get it. You understand? But what that says is, and Beth stole my thunder because I wanted to shout you guys out too. When she said Northwest was rocking and rolling with HSEs, you're absolutely right. But Hines is a powerhouse when it comes to IET. I mean, you have corrections, and I'm going to say this, CMCF and pre-release, you guys are the glue that keeps corrections together. And it's apparent because you're active. You're here. You ask questions. You want to know. And carry that back to your colleagues because we rock out, guys. I need you, again, pat yourselves on the back. Please do that for pat yourselves on the back. I'm not, she's here, Mama, I've never been patted on my back. It's hilarious. Jones, between Smart Start and NCRCs, I'm about to kill you. Seriously, I mean, she has over 600, and it's all because you implemented the program where you made Smart Start a part of your college. So you got the buy-in. It matters, guys. It matters. Half of you, more than half of you, have performance that's over 40%. Y'all, 49.3 is the mark. Now, I have never in my entire life seen a percentage at 0.3. But let me tell you how I view that. That's the Holy Trinity. So those three behind us, we have absolutely no way that we will not rock that performance target. I'm just saying, at 49.3, that's Mississippi's. That's not by chance. So I just want you to know that I'm coming, I'm looking, but I'm loving what I see. Okay, I'm sorry. So before I move on, I just want to say this. Data sharing has come up. And I want you all to understand that we have confidentiality rules. So if someone reaches out to you and wants information regarding your program, your student population and various things like that, I would recommend that you send them to the Office of Adult Education so that we can make sure that they go through the proper channels, make sure they actually apply correctly, and make sure that we all have permission to share that information. So if someone reaches out, send them to myself, Beth, or anybody at the Office of Adult Education so that we can offer the assistance that they need. All right? So let's get into it. All right. I want you to know that my goal for this presentation is to prepare you all for closeout. Because I think I stressed everyone out last year when I hit you with Table 11, sent you all of that stuff, and was like, clean them up in 30 days. And it wasn't even 30 days. It was like 2 weeks. I don't want to do that. That was Beth, by the way. That was Beth. I can tell the truth now. That was not me. So what I want you to understand is I'm going to teach you some things today, and then we're going to work with your data managers and your CCNs in May to get it all done. And you know that's my thing, get her done. We're going to get it all done so that when we do the June presentation, it's going to be easy peasy. We can rock out. Y'all can rest and y'all can take your vacations early.
And can you email that to us? Instead of just like trying to write before you get started?
Sure. Sure. And you have a PowerPoint in your folder.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes. All right, so let's talk about it. In your binders, you will find a lot of the things I'm going to reference today. You're going to find the PowerPoint. It's small because I did notes as opposed to the big blocks so you can see. And then we will also send you this PowerPoint. You will also see some of the steps. I actually provided you the physical steps of how you actually correct these areas here for Table 7 because Table 7 has been a thorn in some of our sides, right? And so I want you to figure out how to correct it. Professional development has been a thorn in some of our sides, so we're going to kind of clear up the data, get the people out that aren't there, correct our staff, and I'm even going to tell you about some of the changes that are coming down the pipe. So again, guys, we are listening. Some of the other things you have is the technical assistance guide. That has changed, and the updates for that were given, it's going to be in front of that, then they're tabbed out. So we're going to go over some of the updates to the technical assistance guide. You have your new tables in there from NRS that actually shows you Table 4 and breaks it down in terms of how those tables will be changing. I'm trying to think, and you have the assessment policy changes. So everything that I'm talking to you today about, you already have. Because again, what's my motto? If it is not documented, it does not exist. So the documentation is in the binder. All right, also too, let me just pause. I don't want to bring this up, so I know I was asking questions. So again, with this packet, you received this desktop monitoring tool. You received maybe a sheet that had some cleanup. I think the kid that sent that to your CCNs last week, and she asked them to clear up some data that was in WARS. And then you got a list. That list of students is what we had for January, which was your active My Best participants. Okay? And I'm going to further explain that when we go into talking about the training that's coming up in May. So now that we're all caught up in terms of the resources that we have, let's talk about it. All right, so Table 7. Table 7 is your staff tab. Table 7 affects your professional development numbers. It also, makes us look at you to see, hey, you have 1,001 staff, but you only have 1 active site. So, as a director, Table 7 should be your saving grace. You need to figure out, hey, let's look at my program. Do I have enough capacity to serve the individuals that I'm trying to serve? Do I have the people in place to do the jobs that I need to do? And there are 2 areas that I actually want you to focus on. Classification. And when I say classification, that means, are they a local tutor? Are they a state director? Are they a navigator? Because we even have a place where you can add to that. And then their status. Are they an active staff member? Have they left us? When they left us, did we update that tab? Or did we just flow on over to the next fiscal year and they just fell off? Because they don't, y'all, unless you actively input this information. So let me show you what you do. All right, so classifications. The majority of the classifications actually hit Table 7. And again, the tables are what we report to the feds in terms of who we are paying with our $80 and what we are doing with the resources that they flow down to us. There are certain classifications that do not hit Table 7, which are these lovely classifications here. So if you're concerned about who you want on Table 7, if they're paid with adult education funds, and that's basic skills funds, adult education funds, I'm iffy on the dropout recovery depending on who it is that you're actually funding with those, but we don't necessarily have to report that to the feds. Then you need to make sure that they're classified correctly, okay? You do that, let's see if I can work this out. Nope, hold that thought. It really is video, y'all. Here we go. All right. I'm showing you real time how you fix it. You choose what their classification is going to be, and you make sure that you put that they are actually regular staff, and that they're full-time or part-time. And the date that they started. Please put the actual date that they started. Don't let that default to June 1st or July 1, and don't let the end date actually default. You see that years of experience right there in adult education? That's important, guys. It doesn't update each year. So each fiscal year, you need to go to your staff tab. Somebody tell me where, first of all, tell me where I find Table 7 anyway. Where is it under the NRS tables? Do you find it with the regular ones? Where is it found? Come on, Christy.
Staff.
Under the staff, right. Yes, you find Table 7 under the staff tab. It will not populate with the regular NRS tables with the students. So, back to what I was saying. You need to increase your staff's years of experience. It doesn't do it for you. Every year. We have asked that question. And here's the thing, because it's based on years with your actual program or years in adult education. And so some of us come with a wealth of knowledge in K-12, but hadn't, hit the door in adult education. So it's kind of giving us an understanding of how long they've been in with us and under our rules and regulations, okay? But you do have an opportunity to put their certifications. Y'all, whatever you know about your staff, fill it all in. Put their certifications in there. If you have someone that has a specialization in a special ed, please add that. As they increase their education and they get those master's degrees and those specialists and those doctorates, put it in, because I asked you guys for that information a couple months back because we had funds and we were trying to put them in leadership programs. And I got so much pushback from that. And it was a blessing. I promise. Remember this, if you remember anything else from my presentation today. I come in peace. Staff updates. This is uber important because this is where you let us know if your staff is no longer with your program. It lets us know when they started and when they left, and whether or not we need to hold them accountable for the professional development hours that are required in our program guidelines. Okay? So you actually can update this under the staff data tab. You're going to have to go to, why am I telling you when I can just show you? Y'all have no idea how much fun I have with actually creating these, with actually creating videos. I literally learn with every presentation. Oh, and I'm turning my back for it. I'm sorry. Now that's stupid. I don't like to be on TV. So you need to go to your staff history. The history tab is where you update the actual start and end date for your staff, okay? You put your start date in, you put your end date on that first active line. You don't change it, you keep it active, but you put the end date for the actual day that they left your program. Then you add a left line. That left line starts with the date that they left your program. You leave it alone. Everybody got that? So you'll have two active lines of staff. You have an active line that you end date with the date that they left, and then you'll have a left line with a start date of the date that they left. No end date. That removes them from your table 7. That removes them from the professional development requirement based on the amount of time they've been on your program. That doesn't carry them into the next fiscal year. If you're not doing that at all, then that's why your staff that probably have left you 2 years ago, even though it says left, are showing up on your current fiscal year and populating your table 7. Mind blown? Mine was. Any questions? Awesome. All right, so let's talk about table 4 because everybody had the wonderful revelation of St. Chris that ran through my time talking about IOT. And I loved it. And I say this because IETs, guys, are going to count for performance measure gains FY22. Julia said, okay. I know, right? Thank you, Julia. Thank you.
I'm right, jotting it down.
Right. Literally, guys, they're going to count. They're going to hit table 4 in 2022. So you're going to actually count them, and these will be the ones that didn't get an HSC, that didn't exit and enter post-secondary because, of course, they're already in post-secondary or workforce because of the bridge and foundations. So, you know, those are the other ways we got gains other than an EFL gain. These are not the ones that got an EFL gain. So again, this is a game changer. Simply by getting them in these IET programs and getting them the credentials and documenting it where it needs to be documented so that it properly hits your tables, okay? The 2 columns that are actually going to be affected are G, and that's going to be like literally the number of IET or workforce participants who actually got the MSG. And I'm going to show you where you put this information because it goes on your outcomes. It should sound familiar because I harassed you totally about Table 11 last fiscal year, and Table 11 is where those outcomes are populated when you place them under the Outcomes tab. So it's really, really important that you follow me when I say where you need to implement this information, okay? Document, document, document. All right, so there are 3 places These are the 3 places that you need to make certain you have information for your IET students. Enrollment. When I say enrollment, tell me what I mean when I say enrollment. Where do you put that? What enrollment where? The start date? Where you add IET. Right, you literally physically have to go into the enrollment for that student and select IET. What are we doing? Are we doing IET, IET credential? What is it? IET credential. And guess what, guys? We are updating our system to the fact that we're going to have Bridge, Foundation, and My Best as a selection to go along with IET. We're also updating our system so you can put the funding stream of the student and the teacher so you can search it. And when we ask the questions, because Roman loves these questions, as well as the kidney, you can search it and say, here you go, sugar, this is who I have. And then you can get Tierra off your back and say, no ma'am, that teacher's paid with Kellogg funds, they don't have a PD requirement. And we're good. What, Julie?
I'm amazed.
Are you amazed? Again, if you don't learn anything from our presentation today, you learn that I come in peace. So at the training for Moors and Laces, this is what we're going to do with your CCNs and your data input people. We ask that you guys bring, we're literally going all the way back to, we said 18, 19, the kid done pulled out data from 17, 16 for y'all to clear up.
That's right.
Hold on, yes ma'am?
Yeah, I think I missed something. You were going to tell us the 3 places to put the IET. You started with enrollment.
Oh, they're right here. I'll go back.
I'm sorry.
Enrollment,
Education
education
and outcomes.
and outcomes. Yes,
I'm sorry.
right. So I'm not going into detail with the directors today because this is what we're going to do for the Moors Laces training.
Can we come to that? Is that?
Now you're not invited. Tell you what. That's funny because Suzanne, I got a question from Delta. I was like, can I come with a transition? And then I got a couple of more. You're invited, sure. You can come. The information was actually shared during the statewide My Best meeting. That Nikita shared that video recording as well. I actually went into depth, took them through it and all that. Like, yes, sure, come on. I don't know, Christy, are they invited? You know, COVID guidelines and everything. I mean, I don't, darn it. I tried. We're not feeding you, so sure, indeed. So yeah, we're gonna go into depth. We're gonna actually walk them through inputting this data, guys. We're gonna go all the way back now. So I asked them to bring their laptops. I asked them to bring their data, and we're gonna clean it up. We're gonna clean it up. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna show these community colleges as well as the feds that Mississippi is doing a great thing. We are at the bottom on so many things, but honey, we deserve to be at the top of the map. I'm just telling you. And I can honestly say this: we're the only ones that's been at work for a long time. Our colleagues are still in Zoom meetings at home, and I'm jealous. We've been here. Y'all been in the trenches, and it shows. It shows in the data. So yeah, this is what we're going to do on the 5th. You only come to one day. So it's broken up between north and south. You have registration. It's open through the 23rd. Through the 23rd. So I ask that you please look at my email and don't cringe. Because again, I come in peace. And sign your programs up so they can get this training. I guarantee it's going to be amazing. And then finally, we're going to have the year-end data reporting on June 2nd. That's for everybody. It's going to be via Zoom. It's not going to be face-to-face. But y'all, by the time I'm done in May, and you guys clean up the staff data when you go back home, we're not going to have to do anything. We're just going to have to roll on the classes. Clean those up too, by the way. And your class sites. It's going to be done. It's going to be easy. I told you you're going to enjoy vacation. And y'all actually might welcome my email and send a happy emoji back to me from time to time. All right, so let's talk about it. I'm gonna give you a little bit more, probably. I was just teasing. So for your own sake, all right, you capture the data. And the data that you put into those systems in enrollment, education, and outcomes is actually reflected on several tables. So table 3 is where the actual enrollment will be. Okay. Table 11 is where the outcomes show up. And then y'all ever heard this wonderful report that says post-secondary education and training? How many of you guys actually go through the education tab and add a new line there and put in what your students are doing? Okay, great. So it's a report that's generated that you actually will get to see real time. And then also, guys, you know table 5. Table 5 is what they do when they leave us. So if we're capturing the data of what they're doing, then we don't have to data match. You guys are the best resources that we possibly have for what our students are doing. And let's not forget, once they leave us, we need to follow them. We have to follow them for how long, Andrew? A year? 2 years. 2 years. Not 2 years.
Is that from when they leave or the school? That's the one.
It's from my understanding. It's from exit.
That's why I was
Right. It's from exit. They are literally called exit indicators. Right. And then again, table 6, what they are. So your CCN should be rolling in this table because it's employment state. So if you have a population of students that came in unemployed, y'all CCN jumping on them, talking and chatting and everything. That's why I said, please make sure for the force training, your CCNs have access to LACES. That's one of the main requirements before they come. I don't want to have a whole day time. As you see, guys, 5 years ago, we got to go 4 out. And of course, table 4. So this is what it looks like. How do you hit the tables? How do they hit the tables? $12 and assess. Darn right. So you need to have to go out and assess with this. To get on table 2. You have to make sure that enrollment under that student in order for them to populate table. I love this. It tells you what they are. So IET for the bridge students. I'm ready to see and then you're students here. High five, we only have 8 students that are in IET. 8 around higher level students. So
Because we don't have any.
because we don't have higher level students. Actually, that's not true. 140.
Okay.
See there. Table done well. All right, and then I'm students. IET is a part of SL. The Pearl River. Shout you out. Pearl River, guys. Put their ESA, say, sir. I've been home think about it. Is that not director a job? Market set them in. I love it. Hines. I wasn't on the interview. Great job. I already shouted IET, period. Come on. Y'all got it. They are. You're out. I knew you would, Lauren. And then also too, you get IELC. The acronym of our goals. Say out loud. Then you also need to they also need to be integrated education program. So let's get it. Let's populate this table. This is what the report looks like. When you go to that education tab, I'll ask that literally. Make sure you put the institution type. Guys, updated that, by the way. We have added skills. We've added literacy. We've added
some of the certification programs through IOT.
And guess what? Because I can't keep up with all chambers and chambers. You can update your own choice list. You can update your choice list, certification programs that you're partnering for IET. You don't have to wait on state. You can do it. I can see it. So I might ask, what's going to be in university? But just be able to. Okay. Tell me what certification is. So we asked that these are really imperative for you to put. You need to put institution. You need to put the top. So right now we have like training, workforce, education. You need to make sure you select one of those. You need to actually the industry. And again, I'm working here, and your data is are we going to send out? The kid is going to send training video. And like she said, for y'all to see my face. And then also I need you to do the entry day. And the exit day. And the credentials that they attach. I mean, we need to start following. We put in the bare minimum, but we need to document everything. So it is really important that every line. And I started asterisk so you know that it's required, so that you would do it. We're just gonna get in the practice of if we know it, document it. And then there's even a place where you're gonna upload that actual documentation in the student's file. Okay. Any questions so far? Because table 11 is coming. It came last year tonight, but it is here to stay. And I love it. That's where it's gonna get the credit doing what you're doing. Because these are where your outcomes. Table 11 about outcomes. Table 4 about outcomes. And all three documentation. So it is important you have enrollment, the education, and the outcomes tab. Building in order for table 4 get that credit for that in IET. Do I need to say that again? In your package, you also have table 4 descriptor. It tells you what type of documentation is sufficient. It tells you where you need to put. It says table 11. I couldn't make it as simple and sweet. Behind one of those tabs, it should be towards the front, like right after your after the class. If it is not, I can shoot that to you. I actually already did. It's in there. If it's not like I said, email, you should have. Tells you how you're not ask yourself whether or not somebody is qualified as documentation, and if yes, rock on, if no, deny it, don't do it, flag, there it is. No playground. And then you also have, let's see, where you actually data with the data secondary education training tab. So I gave you resources, teach you how to do it on Inmate. You guys are experts. You can help. Hey, yeah, study. So you can still be false. All right. Policy changes. I printed out the changes and highlighted them in red. And just to be totally honest with you guys, the majority of the changes occur around ESL, online, and that will have to be a correction. So class online, you all need to utilize that online version. It also talks about professional development, guys. We literally, this is why I said God is so good. I know last year we had the fiasco. But fast forward to our state federal director asking us, hey, you need to make sure policy, X, Y, and it was all wrapped around training. It was wrapped around how often you do it annually, and at the local program, you guys refreshers, which is why we created back to basics, and Cindy and staff that did that. We are ahead of the game, and Ms. have no idea. So you need to utilize those resources. Cindy is creating training, and I have three trainers that are coming. I want to tell them I'm trying to have to do things. So I'm gonna give away. But anyway, they're gonna have license for the people. They're gonna have tape for handling. It's gonna be amazing. Everything's gonna be interesting. So there will be no excuse for out big day. Because you don't have to have a place to get your professional development in. We have innovative barriers at the state level as well. Yes, ma'am. Every 2 years. Yes. And also too, classes, right. And also, let me just tell you this, take class that you have to instruct, because the instructor that instructs those students can't be responsible for the post-test.
We have another staff that would have to be in the
No. It's just a basic that the instructor that teaches, not the person that post-test, okay? Especially the listening, speaking your mind. And then you also need to make sure that they're too far. Don't just take one assessment. They are paired together. We're seeing some issues with that.
Actually.
Talk to them.
The assessment called change our name, or anything, or any class, is that the instructor cannot put in the schoolwork for speaking, writing. They could have post-test.
Because it's online now.
But they can't split it.
That's the safest thing to do. Amen, y'all. Get y'all. I'm going. All right, and so that's the gist of the assessment policy and those change, make sure that they're aware of the fact offering refresh, they have the local staff knows they have a required. So again, it doesn't come from state level, also have that training requirement. That's about it. And then finally, you have your updates for the technical assistance guide. And like I said, updates for the technical guide. I literally verbatim the email so that you would know. It was a lot of corrections. The main thing was actually explaining that it's added IOT as skill game. And so I gave my version. I printed out your guide for you. And had access to PowerPoint, this hyperlink. Okay.
Is that kind of an assessment, skill game question? In the past, they had talked about possibly passing a portion of your high set. Is that, I know everything's pushing to IIT and they're not even thinking about that as much anymore. But is that still?
So I literally tried every time I do the number two, and I get shut down every time. They're not going like passing the math is not an EFL. We have to pass the entire HS assessment in order to get every skill game for that. But I agree. Here's what I say do. If that student has that section of the HS, they get you a game on the test in that section. Fresh, test them, move on. You don't need one game a year. Just one. So move on. Get her done. Great. Move on. Let's test them in the HS. So great question. Any other questions? Okay. So if you take nothing from today's presentation, I come into